Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. We actually have a bit of news here, on the bizarre side more than anything. We have Paris no longer in competitive or in the game, and we'll go over why that is. But also, somebody on Reddit, a keen eye, spotted that two changes were in for Mercy and Torbjorn. Mercy was kinda nerfed and has been in a nerfed state for quite some time without anybody noticing, but also Torbjorn was buffed in a pretty major way when it comes to one interaction. Before we get started though, we have been working with Blizzard for the past couple of weeks highlighting the Overwatch League. It's coming to its conclusion. The two teams have been decided. San Francisco Shock versus Vancouver Titans next weekend in Philadelphia. Myself and Miska will be there. I think people like Stylos and stuff are going, so we may organize some big meetup whilst we're there. We've linked the Twitch channel Overwatch League in the description and comments below, so you can see the final two matches, get yourself up to speed, what people are playing, all that stuff. So why is Paris being disabled? Patch notes say they came out 18 hours ago from Kathy Lee, going over a couple of bits and pieces. The first bit is that Paris will be temporarily disabled due to a bug that lets players shoot through one of the spawn doors. Now, of course, the biggest joke here is, yeah, take as long as you want, Blizzard, when it comes to temporarily disabling Paris. It's a map that doesn't have a lot of fans. It's fair to say, I don't mind it as much, but I know that a lot of players don't really like playing it, so this might be good news if you're queuing at the moment. With that said, I was reminded at something that Jeff Kaplan said a while ago on the Seagull stream when Sigma was added into the game first on the PTR. He said this.
We can take a look at Paris. I mean, you all have seen we've done big changes. For really early people, we did big changes to Anubis. We've done huge changes to Horizon Lunar Colony. If people aren't satisfied with Paris, that's one that we can take a look at.
So I am wondering at this point if we will ever see any changes to Paris. It must be something that they've been looking at for quite some time, you know, keeping an eye on, seeing if the stats are as bad as it seems. Evidently not, because they haven't changed this map at all, but who knows, maybe this is something that they'll start working on now that Paris is no longer in competitive play. They can have a mess about with it a little bit more and see what they can do. 2CP as a whole feels a lot better as a game mode, personally, after the changes that came in quite a while ago, but Paris may still need some more work. The rest of the changes in these known issue patch notes that Kathy put together are fairly small, not really worth highlighting, just bugs when it comes to visual stuff here or there. But something that I really wanted to highlight was something that Lightning Laxus went over on the competitive Overwatch subreddit, highlighting that Mercy was nerfed and Torbjorn was buffed. Both of these changes can be quite confusing, so I'll do my best to explain them as in-depth as I can. Might I add that these are on the live servers, these aren't PTR hidden changes, these are hidden changes that have been in the game for quite some time that nobody is spotted or highlighted up until now, even going as far as being 6 months old. The reason why I mention that is because it's very difficult in this video to do like a before and after to highlight the change, because these changes are in the game anyway. So I'll do my best to explain them as opposed to showing them, if that's okay. The first change for Mercy boils down to the ultimate generation that she gets when damage boosting. It's been nerfed. The general rule of Mercy getting ult charge from damage boost is she gets 30% ult charge of the damage that the teammate does. If a Lucio boops a full health Roadhog off the map, he gains ult charge for 100% of Roadhog's health. That's how Lucio could get his ult very quickly, right? If Mercy's damage boosted him, she will also get 30% of his health, which is a good chunk. If Widowmaker one-shots a squishy, you get 30% of the target HP's health as ult charge. That's how it should work, but it doesn't. Now Mercy only gets ult charge from the amplified damage instead of the health pool of the enemy, and I believe it's damage that's fatal as well. So for example, Lucio booping off a Roadhog, you won't get 30% of the Roadhog's health. You'll only get charge for the damage that the sound wave does, which is pretty negligible. But I guess most importantly, if Widowmaker one-shot somebody, you don't get any charge. And according to Lightning, the reason why you don't gain any charge is because you don't contribute to the damage. Especially if that damage was enough to kill the target. If Widowmaker was going to one-shot kill that person anyway and you damage boost them, you're not adding anything. So if you're a damage boost in Mercy, you may have realised that you're not getting your ultimate as often as you were hoping. This change has been in the game since Baptiste was added, according to some of the threads on the Battle.net forums. But like we mentioned in this video, it wasn't in any of the patch notes. I don't know if this was something that Lightning just noticed now or whether he's known for quite some time, but as somebody that tries to keep up with the news and all of these minor changes, it's kind of crazy that something like this has sort of slipped everybody by for this long. So there's no point as you, as a Mercy, damage boosting targets that can one-shot others. or at least damage boosted targets are about to kill somebody, because if you don't contribute to the damage at all, you don't gain anything at all. It's pointless, so just another big hit to Mercy at the moment. The other changes to Torbjorn. This one makes a little bit more sense why it slipped people by, and that's because you have so many variables. As Lightning highlighted in this thread, originally, Torbjorn's Molten Core did 130 DPS to unarmored targets, but of course it did more damage to armored targets. 190 DPS in total to be precise. However, two things have changed. They buffed the original damage that Torbjorn's Molten Core does to unarmored targets, up to 160 DPS, so they upped the damage by 30. That was in the patch notes, and fairly straightforward to understand. Then you have the other thing, where they nerfed the strength of armor. It was very finicky and complex to explain, but generally they made armor weaker. One of the major changes there too was damage over time abilities, like Molten Core, Ash's Dynamite, anything that does ticking damage, was no longer mitigated by armor. Both of these changes together meant now that Molten Core now does 250 damage per second to armored targets. I hope that makes sense. Generally, Molten Core's stronger, armor is weaker, therefore Molten Core does more damage to armored targets, which again is something that people have only realised now. Looking back at this, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that makes sense why that would happen, but hopefully Blizzard sort of acknowledged this, either by fixing the changes to Mercy, because I think that's a pretty hefty nerf that nobody's really experienced, and also acknowledging Torbjorn. I don't necessarily think that it's too strong that it needs nerfing, but Blizzard have been very on the dot when it comes to inconsistent hero balancing. You know, they looked at Zarya and Symmetra as an example to make them more consistent. I assume they're gonna highlight both of these changes fairly soon. But that's everything that I wanted to go over in this video. Paris has been taken out of the game for the foreseeable future whilst they fix it. And also Mercy and Torbjorn have some changes that people haven't spotted in over 6 months, which I think is pretty ridiculous. And I feel kind of bad that we never spotted it. But let me know what you think. Thanks again to Lightning Laxus that posted this on the subreddit. Really interesting. Thanks for watching. Do check out the Overwatch League if you haven't already. Take care. See you then.